Hello, guys. So the season is done and dusted, and Lando has won the championship. But कुछ लोगों का रोना अभी तक खत्म नहीं हुआ है, calling it undeserving. So this has forced me to make another video as a continuation of a previous video which we had recorded before the Abu Dhabi GP. I suggest you watch that as well. So chaliye, let's debunk the claims of the haters again. So their first claim is Max did a 104-2, so he deserves the championship. It's actually a terrific achievement, but there are lots of things which you don't consider when you say that. The 104-point deficit which Max had was to Oscar, not to Lando, which he overcame. He finished ahead of Oscar in the standings. His deficit to Lando at that stage was 70 points. And it's the same race, the Dutch GP, where Lando had the mechanical failure. He could have had 18 more points from that race. He could have. You see how I stress on that could? Because all your arguments are could, should. Now you might say कि 70 points भी ज़्यादा होते हैं. हाँ होते हैं, but not when you're facing multiple challenges from your own team. For example, a disqualification at Vegas cost him 18 points, and a strategic blunder at Qatar, again, where he could have finished P2 instead of P4, and which would have given him 18 points again. And Oscar would have won that race, and Max would have finished P3 instead of P1, where he would have just gotten 15 points instead of 25. If that hadn't happened, the gap would have been 33 points even before we get to Abu Dhabi, and Max would have been out of championship race even before the final race. And Lando would have won the championship by 23 points instead of 2, which is really important to consider over here, because that would make your narrative to discredit Lando's achievement fail. Now, if we keep aside all the if, buts, and maybes, Max didn't do a 104-2 against Lando. He did a 70-2, taking nothing away from him, which is still very impressive. But Lando out there was fighting his own team to protect that lead. Now moving on to second one. Lando won by 2 points, but Oscar gave him 3 points at Monza. भाई तुम लोग नफरत में हौले हो गए क्या? The swap happened between Lando and Oscar. अगर मैं fair unfair की बात साइड भी कर दूं ना, the 3 points given to Lando were against Oscar, not Max, and Lando won against Max by 2 points, not Oscar. Hope this drives some sense into your heads, hopefully. And also, the swap happened between the teammates to keep things fair between them, just like Hungary last year. And you guys had no problem with that whatsoever. By the way, Red Bull fans should be the last one to be speaking about unfair treatments and swaps. Now moving on to third one. Lando should have gotten a penalty for his over the track limits overtake against Yuki. फिर से बोलना पड़ता है इसके बारे में. तुम लोगों को बेसिक रूल्स नहीं मालूम तो कई को देखने आते स्पोर्ट तुम्हें. What happened there was Yuki pushed him off the track. How virtuoso. तो तुम ना मैं रूल्स पढ़ के सुनाता हूँ. On a straight, when you're defending, you're allowed to move only once. And Yuki moved twice under braking so dangerously that there was a risk of hitting Lando's car. And Lando took avoiding action. That's why that overtake was allowed. तो तुमने क्या लगा था? युगी को गाड़ी में बैठ कर चने खाने की पेनल्टी मिली समझे? तो चलिए दोस्तों, अब बात है कंक्लूजन पे. अब इतना बोल ही दिया है तो आई होप कि लोगों में थोड़ी सी कॉमन सेंस आ ही जाएगी. नहीं आती इनमें. And don't even get that people's championship bullshit to me. A champion is a champion, period. If you keep saying this, there's no difference between you and the ones who keep calling Lewis an 8x world champion. So guys, that's it for today. And if you like football and Formula 1, then you should subscribe to this channel and follow us on Instagram. I'll drop the link in the description. Adios.